Gotta make the face, and then we. Hello, everybody. We are the Roto Hackers. My name is Judah Buddha. I'm here with It's Jared and AJ Herschel. The kid is on assignment. Might be joining us later. We are your unauthorized reporters of fantasy football. We're unauthorized apparently because of me. Sorry, Jared. How you doing today?
Doing all right. How about you?
Not too bad. I've got these. I want to start using these. Can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
You don't seem too enthused.
Don't I? Weird.
Oh, well, that gets you a
winning.
That one I sort of appreciate. I think we had this conversation before, maybe
About
off air.
what?
Maybe off air, I don't remember. Just about the whole Charlie thing, or Charlie Sheen winning thing. Yeah, I don't know. That stuff still kind of cracks me up. I'll go back and play that auto-tuned
that is the
song of his.
Songify.
It's still Songify. Yeah, it still holds up. It's still entertaining.
Yeah, all those songifies are really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the Joe Biden one. Have you heard that one
No, I haven't seen those
about
in
a
years.
shotgun?
No, I haven't seen any of them in years.
It's such a good song. Like I play it just to listen.
Yeah.
Buy a shotgun.
Yeah.
Anyway, so,
Yeah.
but you're doing all right today. Is it a beautiful day in Georgia?
It is. Yeah. After we're done, I'm probably going to go down to our little recreation department beach area that's on the lake, where they just kind of created this little, small beach area, brought in sand and stuff, and
Okay.
yeah, it's just nice to be able to get out to, and so get a little more color in my paper white skin.
Yeah, I've been getting some sun. I noticed the difference between me when I first got here and now.
Mhm.
Some of it may have been the settings on whatever have you,
Oh, yeah.
but also I've been getting some sun.
Yeah. Yeah, I really need just like year-round sun. In the winter, I just get so pale. It's
Yeah,
bad.
me too. Me too. It was always a joke growing up because everybody in my family, and my brothers and sisters and dad and mom, well, except for my mom. My mom is freckly and white, and I was freckly and white growing up, and everybody else, straight hair, dark olive skin, and I was freckly and white with curly hair, kind of curly reddish hair, most when I was younger. So I was the Irish one. They all got the more of the Latino. I started to morph into some California. But anyways,
Yeah, I had just like blonde, almost white hair as a kid.
really,
And yeah, and then that's darkened. It started getting darker. I was probably, I don't know. I mean, it started to darken, by the time I was maybe 6 or 7, and then by the time I was in, I don't know, maybe by the time I was, 10 or so, it was like pretty dark brown. So,
fascinating.
yeah, I can relate.
Well, I don't have anything to play here. Maybe I'll play this. Yeah, I got nothing. Okay, let's go to the news.
News in the NFL today.
What do we got for news You were mentioning something about. Well, there's the Mostert. Can you tell
Yeah,
us what's going on with Mostert? That's
yeah.
probably the most pressing.
Yeah, so Raheem Mostert, who's typically been going, I guess, probably around round 5 in fantasy drafts, um, requested a trade from the 49ers. Um, and I don't think I've seen anything about the 49ers responding. Um, yeah, I don't see them having responded or anything. But, Mostert's sort of an interesting situation because he came on later last year as sort of their feature running back. It was kind of an odd situation where where he would get the bulk of the carries some games, and some games he would be in more of a split with Tevin Coleman. But he did have some big games that there was a big one. I guess his first big one was actually didn't really come until December 1st at Baltimore, where he had 19 carries for 146 yards and a touchdown. And then kind of from there on, from the first game of December, really through the end of the regular season, I mean, he was really reliable. Because he was getting double-digit touches, and every one of those games, he typically only had about 50-something yards, 53, 54, 57, 69 in one game. But he had a touchdown in every one of those games. And then in what it would have been week 17, which nobody would have, not many leagues play in week 17, he had 2 touchdowns. And then his really big performance came against the Packers in the NFC Championship game, where he got 29 carries. The most he had ever had, prior to that, were those 19 against Baltimore. But he had 29 carries, 220 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So, his, like I said, his average draft position has been around, I think around round 5. That's typically where he's gone in my drafts. And there was some debate, of course, though, like a lot of these running backs this year, about where do you take him? Is he going to get the bulk of the carries again this year? Or, is Tevin Coleman still going to be a problem? Is Jerick McKinnon coming back going to be a problem? And then there's other guys beyond that, that the 49ers have. So people have still been kind of putting some faith in him getting enough carries to justify a round 5 or so pick. Now he's asked for a trade because he's making, very little money, and I think he was just kind of wanting to get bumped up to roughly what Tevin Coleman was making, which, again, I mean, it's a lot of money, but in terms of football player money, running backs just aren't paid all that well. So it doesn't really sound like the 49ers are going to do anything, because I guess this had been sort of the end of a culmination of an ongoing process. So if he does get traded, it makes things, more interesting for what do the 49ers do, and then what does his situation look like? Because to me, there's probably only a couple of situations out there that he could go to that would be as good or better than the 49ers situation. What are your thoughts?
Be? Okay, so what are some places? Because I was thinking you said Tampa Bay before would be a good place.
Yeah, Tampa's still one of the first ones that comes to mind, because they've got Ronald Jones, they drafted Keyshawn Vaughn, but it's not like either one of those guys is some dominant runner that you just can't be unseated or anything like that. The other one that people have been mentioning is Chicago. So too bad Caleb's not here. But I guess I don't know. I guess some people just weren't terribly impressed by David Montgomery last year. It's hard to know, if the organization really feels the same way or what, because they didn't bother to really do anything with that position in the offseason. So, I don't know as much about them, but a lot of people are floating that one out there, and then people, of course, then are making jokes about like the 49er Bears trade for Mitch Trubisky. So they're like, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. When has a Bears 49ers trade not worked out well? So a lot of salty Chicago Bears fans are making some jokes about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, to me, the one that really jumps out is Tampa still. I don't know as much about Chicago, but some people are floating that. So
Well, the other place I heard was Seattle, and because they looked at a few people, but I think they're going with the guy from Houston. What's his name?
Carlos Hyde is the backup
Yeah,
to Chris Carson. The other
I
thing
think they're
is,
just gonna stick with him.
yeah, and I mean, the other thing is, you have to assume that it's probably San Francisco's first preference to not trade him within the division. So
Really? Because I mean, most of these guys do trade within the division.
I mean, what has been like a
I mean,
big time trade within the division
if you
lately?
think about all the not that division, but like I'm just thinking about the Bears and Minnesota are. It feels like an incestuous relationship. They trade so much together. Like it seems like it always stays within. Now that is just based off of a thought I had before. I can't think of anybody right now. What's the I mean, what's the last biggest trade to go through?
Like intra division trade or just overall?
I'm just trying to think of trade. I can't think of any trades right
Yeah, that's well, I mean, a lot of the trades have been. I mean, the last big trade was DeAndre Hopkins
now.
going
Okay.
from Houston to
Yeah.
Arizona, swapping conferences too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think they would trade him within the within the division.
Uh-huh.
Um, Sometimes you'll see like maybe like a lower level deal. And I mean, not that Raheem Mostert's a huge deal, but I mean, I think it's probably big enough that they wouldn't want to help an opponent. So I don't think he would go to the West. Um, yeah, I mean, just looking through, the list of teams, like I just don't know if there's like really another fit that makes sense out there unless without someone potentially getting hurt or something.
Well, okay. So here's the thing: is that I'm trying to look up how much Hyde got from the Seahawks. I can't find that. But okay, so it's weird because I mean Kyle Juszczyk is getting he's getting 5.25 million.
Hmm.
Motors get 2.5.
Hmm.
2.5.
Yeah.
Or he's gonna get 2.8. Um, and McKinnon hasn't even. I think he played like 2 games with them. He gets
Yeah.
7.5 million,
Yeah.
and Coleman gets 4.25.
Hmm.
So, with Mostert doing probably the best, and probably has the best fit, maybe other than McKinnon, if he can stay healthy,
Hmm.
for the system, because of his inside outside versatility. I think I can see why he wants to get traded, but if I'm the 49ers, I'm like, no.
Hmm.
No. There's nobody that really wants him, I don't think. Like poor old Hyde. Who I'm thinking about is Freeman, Devontae Freeman.
Yeah.
Poor old guy. He just wanted. I think all he wanted was 4 million, and he couldn't even get. Yeah. AJ Herschel, the kid, is just texting me saying he's not gonna make it. He's on assignment, like we said. But yeah, Freeman couldn't even get 4 million from the Seahawks. They settled for Hyde. I would have rather had Freeman. I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a wash. But I think they only gave 2 million to Hyde. I couldn't find it, but that's what in my memory. If my memory serves me, Freeman wanted 4, and they gave Hyde 2. So
Yeah.
Freeman's still out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. With Mostert,
I,
it's
I'd
like
rather have Mostert than Freeman or Hyde. honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna look up to see. This is kind of interesting. I was gonna look up to see what the age difference was between Mostert and Freeman.
Right. Well, Freeman's
Well, I
old
mean,
man.
well, Hyde's an old man. Freeman, I couldn't remember what it was, and we think of Freeman as being an old man. Freeman's actually 28. But I mean,
Really?
yeah, that's all he is. He feels like
Yeah.
probably 4 years older. He feels like he's like
He
32
really
or something.
does.
So here is the unfortunate thing
Mostert.
for Mostert is what he has in his favor is that he doesn't have a whole lot of mileage on his legs. You know, I mean,
Yes.
he had 137 rushing attempts in 2019, and prior to that, he had 34 in 2018. He had 6 in 2017 and 1 in 2016. So however, he is 1 month and 6 days younger than Devonta Freeman. He's 28.
Wow.
So, I mean, the mileage
Not
is
a
gonna,
good, not a good sign, though.
No.
You know, for
no. I mean, I understand why he wants to get paid now. But I mean, 28 is already like creeping up on, you know, especially when you're not like an elite running back, you know. So I just don't know what's, you know, really going to happen there because I don't know who's going to want to pay that or what. I don't know.
That seems like sort of a hopeless situation for him. Now, I don't think he's going to get traded. We've talked about if he does get traded, who would be best to go to. If he doesn't get traded, seems like he still has some value in fantasy. However, I'm not taking him in the 5th round.
No.
I saw that you picked up McKinnon. I feel like McKinnon might be a better dice roll at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I picked him up as sort of a just in case. I don't even know how long I'll keep him. I wanted to pick him up, you know, in case the 49ers, you know, had any news come out that they were going to trade Mostert, or if there was any analysts saying that, yeah, they thought he might get the bulk of the touches. But I don't know. That becomes a very messy situation if Mostert isn't there. Because I don't.
If he is, though, let's talk about if he is.
I think if he is, he's still again. Yeah, like you say. I mean, 5th round scares me a little bit. 6th, I'd be pretty good with.
Well, let me ask a question. Who would you rather have, Damon Williams or Mostert?
Mostert.
Who would you rather have, David Montgomery or Mostert?
That's a tougher one. I actually traded Mostert for it was a package deal though. Basically, I mean, there were some spare parts involved, but it was basically me getting. I traded Mostert and I got Damian Williams and Michael Gallup in return.
I am really liking Michael Gallup. I'm back on the Michael Gallup train.
Yeah, I am for you know, where his draft position and stuff. I don't want to trust him as like a number 2 receiver or something like that. But as a number 3, number 4 type receiver, I like his value of where he's going.
Well, let's talk about some wide receivers. Who would you rather have? Would you rather? Because right around that area, you could pick up. I mean, you could pick up Calvin Ridley's going in the 4th.
Yeah, he's moving up.
He's gonna go. He's moving up. Would you rather have David Johnson or would you rather have Mostert? And that's going back to RBs.
Yeah, I think you got to go with David Johnson just because you expect the workload to be there and you expect him to be in the situation that he's in. I mean, there's now just so many unknowns with Mostert. It's definitely David Johnson for me. And actually, I should specify, like, saying Mostert over Damian Williams. That's if Mostert stays in San Francisco. As of now, while it's still up in the air, or if he goes to, a bad situation, I would wait, and I would take Damian Williams probably, because I think Mostert would probably still be gone before Damian, but I don't know. I don't think this will crush his draft stock right now, even though maybe it should. So I would actually rather take Damian Williams as like a 7th round pick than Mostert if he's still going sometime in the 6th or 5th or 6th. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think I'd rather have DJ Chark than Mostert. Would you?
That's a little tougher just because, we're getting now into the value of running backs versus all the receivers that are out there. I think
I'm gonna shoot some wide receivers at you here.
Yeah,
a whole bunch of them.
Just based on the uncertainty with Mostert right now. Yeah, my dog's chiming in the background. He has strong feelings on that. Based on that, I would say, probably Chark.
Chark. Okay. Stephon Diggs.
I don't trust Diggs. No, Mostert.
Robert Woods.
I would go maybe Woods. He's gonna be like a limited ceiling but high floor type of guy. He's gonna catch balls, but he just never. He's like Julio. He doesn't like the end zone.
AJ Green.
That's tougher because I still, if AJ Green's healthy, he could be a steal at his pick.
And I saw news today that he's about to sign the tag,
the franchise tag. Yeah,
tag.
Man, I don't know. That's almost like just neck and neck
wash
for me.
And then last one, Allen Robinson.
Oh, Allen Robinson. Yeah,
me too. It's funny, Allen Robinson's going the furthest down.
No.
In fantasy football calculator, he's 55. AJ Green's 54. Robert Woods 53.
Wow. In all my Yahoo drafts, Robinson is gone by the 4th round.
Really? Not mine. It's funny though that they've got Juju Schuster at 61. They need to update these. Schuster's going way higher.
Yeah, I don't know how old some of those are.
This has got to be old. Yeah, well, it says June 11th. Oh, June 11th. Yeah, that's old.
Yeah, even then, though, I don't know. That's weird. Allen Robinson, I feel like Yahoo might actually have Robinson overvalued a little bit. I don't remember how he compares on ESPN, but like Yahoo, he's just ranked like right behind some of those guys like Galladay and Chris Godwin and some of those. I mean, I like him a lot, but his quarterback situation scares me. So,
yeah. It's hard. It's hard because he's a beast and he's a target monster. So if his full ADP, I almost feel like that's got to really. But half point PPR, I don't know. It's just hard for me to take him. He's one of those vanilla takes, right? Like Woods.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the upside that I think Green could have, I trust Diggs way more than you. Chark, those guys are a lot higher. Odell Beckham, he'd be way higher. They've got him down in this area.
See, I don't know.
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna disagree on Green and say I would say Allen Robinson's season last year is probably AJ Green's ceiling now. I mean, AJ Green he's going to be 32 going into the season. Robinson last year had 98 receptions, almost 1,150 yards. He had 1,147. The one downside was he only had 7 touchdowns. But I think AJ Green at this point, that would probably be like, if I could get that kind of season out of AJ Green, oh God, I would be thrilled with that. He's never been like, he had like his first couple of 2 out of his first 3 seasons, he was flirting with 100 receptions. Past that, then, I mean, part of it's been because of injuries and stuff, but he's just been more limited. The yardage has been more limited, and he used to be like a I don't know. I
think his upside is higher. Oh, we got some comments. Joe's of Maxwell Road says, he's bringing in a little controversy. Should Washington change their name? I think changing it to a bird like tits.
I believe it's pronounced tights.
Tights. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Well, for the purposes of this broadcast, we'll pronounce it as tights.
Okay. The potential marketing is endless. He says vanilla is delicious, so we shouldn't be calling players vanilla if we don't like them. And
I'll get on board. I'll get on board with that. I like
vanilla?
I like vanilla. Yeah. Now I like it. I like it paired with something else, like vanilla with apple pie ice cream. But I've never been like a huge chocolate guy. I've always been
I'm chocolate. I'm chocolate ice cream.
Yeah,
Vanilla's vanilla.
It's got to be like a blend for me. Like caramel with chocolate, I'm good. Caramel with vanilla, I'm good. But just not.
Wait, I'm thinking ice cream. Caramel with chocolate and vanilla. So like Rocky Road or something.
Yeah, or like Turtle Tracks or something. Yeah, but like
Moose Tracks. Yeah.
But I can eat like pure vanilla, pure strawberry. Like, well, I can eat pure chocolate too. But it's just, I don't know. I'm generally not a huge like straight up chocolate with nothing added guy.
Well, guys, leave your favorite. Oh, hi Ryan. Ryan, tell us what your favorite flavors are. I guess we're talking ice cream, right?
I guess we are now. I don't.
Let's say ice cream. Your favorite flavor of ice cream. Mine's chocolate. Apparently, Jared's is vanilla.
No, it isn't. I just like it. Over that. Yeah, no, I'm saying it. Vanilla is underrated and good. If we're doing, let's see. I guess my favorite one is caramel cookie crunch, and so it's vanilla ice cream with like little chunks of chocolate cookie and caramel swirls. So see, it's got the best of all three.
I guess so. Max,
chocolate equals
Maxwell
Patriots.
Says chocolate equals Patriots.
I don't know if he means that in a good way or bad way.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. He's just trying to make a joke, and I don't know if it works. I have a podcast on Sundays. Check it out. Anybody who wants to watch Chickenfoot Podcast, you can look it up on YouTube, or we also have you can look it up on. We also stream it on Facebook. But it is we look at comedy, and we try to tell jokes. Actually, this week I have a whole set that I bought off of Fiverr, and we're gonna go over that.
You have a whole set?
Yeah, like a stand-up set.
Oh. Okay.
Set of jokes.
Oh, okay.
They're not very good. Spoiler alert.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you meant like a background set for your podcast.
That would be awesome. Yeah, kind of like, you remember when Kramer had that? He bought that old.
He bought the old Merv Griffin set. Yeah. That was great.
He's like, we're gonna take a break, and they're like, "Who are you talking to?"
Yeah, that was great.
Ryan N says, "Give me that birthday cake ice cream or red velvet."
Yeah, birthday cake's a good choice.
I don't like it. It tastes a little too much. It's too
sweet.
to me. Yeah, I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan of the.
I can handle the sweet ice cream. That it's the like ultra rich like store bought cake that is about like the only thing that's like too sweet for me. Like I can't.
Yes, that gets into the nasty zone.
Yeah, it's like just pure sugar or something, you know.
Yeah. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, I grew up. My favorite as a kid was Superman ice cream. Have you ever had Superman ice cream? It's like a blue ice cream with balls of gum in it. It's basically bubble gum ice cream. They
Oh
call
no,
it Superman ice
that's
cream.
not what I was thinking of as ice cream. It has gum in the ice cream.
It
That seems like
has
a
little
choking.
balls.
Seems like a choking hazard.
That's interesting. Yeah, I was in Canada, so the rules are a little bit more lax there. But I would always go.
Back at the time, probably. Yeah, I think
Especially,
I think it's changed now.
Get out of here with your sherbet.
Nah,
Come on.
I'm not a
That's
sherbet
bad
fan.
take. Bad take.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm not a sherbet fan. I also don't like Neapolitan. Like that's too much because
I actually do.
I don't
You
like
know,
number one, I don't want to get like a little bit of like chunk of one and the other. Like I'm
oh,
not
I
about
kinda
that.
like that.
And then definitely
Oh.
do not want it all rolled into one. So I'm not about sherbet or Neapolitan.
Okay. Well, I'm not about sherbet. I'll eat it. I'll eat all of these except for probably what you're talking about, like the cake from the store. No.
Hmm.
But I pretty much my go-to is actually my go-to. Like if I go to was it Cold Stone or something,
Hmm.
I will get chocolate and strawberry together and maybe put like some berry in there, mix some berry and some
Okay.
graham cracker mixed in there. I like that.
We have a local little ice cream place, and I get white chocolate raspberry, which is very good.
Okay, white chocolate raspberry. So wait, do they crush real raspberry in it, or is it raspberry flavoring?
I guess it's flavoring. I don't know exactly how they do it, but it does taste like white chocolate raspberries. So
Okay, wow. We're gonna have to make a new. Maybe that could be under.
Hot takes! Hot takes! Ooh, that's way too hot.
I think that'd be cold. Cold. Wouldn't they be
Yeah.
cold takes? Wouldn't that be like literally the absolute opposite of hot takes?
Cool takes. Cool takes.
Brr, too cold.
Gotta make a new one. Gotta make a new one.
Yeah.
Well, there was only one more piece of news that you wanted to talk about, the Colts. Can you tell me a little bit about?
Yeah, so this was just kind of actually piecing together a couple of different things. Like the Jaguars put out a press release saying that they would comply with the city of Jacksonville's mandate about they would only seat approximately 25% of capacity at home games. I was joking about, well, that's all they seat anyway, but actually I think theirs is higher than that. But
I thought you were serious. That was cracking me up.
yeah, that would have been funny. The Chargers, they might be. I don't know. Well, they probably have a crowd, but it's just mostly the opposing fans.
Team.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me see if I can find what the Colts was more. The Colts was more vague, and now I'm having trouble finding it. But it was basically like I think they said that they would not be seating the rows near like the little tunnel openings. So I think none of those, and basically, so it was just talking about some of those protocols and stuff like that. I don't think any of it was really is talking about like how they would try to limit people, getting up to get beverages and food and stuff like that. So It wasn't anything like really that specific or interesting, but they're starting to make make preparation for this.
Yeah, they're starting to really, what is it? Plan out, structure
Mhm.
out like what it's going to look like. And I mean, they have to. We've got like less than 2 months left, right?
I mean, it kind of depends on what happens with the preseason.
Oh,
But
well, they're not going to have a preseason, I don't think.
well,
Maybe.
they're still wanting to, the owners want to have 2 games. Players don't really want to have any. But now they're running into issues with what was it? The basically negotiating the finances, and so the owners want to hold a percentage, like I can't remember if it's like 35% or something like that of the players' salaries in escrow in case they have to,
Pay
you
them
know,
back or something for the year.
yeah, I think if they have to like forfeit, cancel games or stuff like that, and the players are like, no, 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 we're already playing with increased risk. We don't want to take any less. So, I don't know. I mean, that ended up getting, baseball haggled over that for a while. So I don't know if it'll affect anything. But then the other thing too is I noticed like we haven't really had that much talk from football players yet because they're already playing a pretty dangerous game. But I think this guy's probably the first player to really come out and talk about it. But the Bucks left tackle, maybe Ryan has some thoughts on this if he's still around. Donovan Smith, and I'm not sure if he's their starter or not. But he doesn't think playing during the COVID-19 pandemic is a risk worth taking. Um, so
Really?
so I'm sure we're going to have, because baseball, you've had some players opt out either,
Yeah.
because of themselves or because of, they're afraid of taking it back to their families or something like that. So you're going to have some football players that will do that, I'm sure. Um, you know, Baseball, the Braves have had a couple of, especially like I guess the most significant one was Nick Markakis, who opted out. So you'll have some football players that'll do that. So I don't know, but they play a more dangerous game anyway. So maybe it's not gonna, on one hand you'd think like, well, maybe they won't care as much, but at the same time, then with baseball players tend to be pretty trim, and I mean, a lot of the
Yeah.
football linemen are pretty hefty guys, so they're more at risk. So
Yeah.
I think you'll still have some of that.
But the thing is, okay, Ryan does chime in. He says Donovan Smith should probably just come out and say his decision instead of playing games. Oh,
Yeah, I guess he means that like Donovan
he's
didn't.
just kind of like playing cat and mouse with it.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't give a. I don't think he gave a
Definitive
concrete
answer.
answer of like I'm not going to play. Um, so I think that's what he's
Well,
talking about.
the thing is if they're testing people before, if they're testing everybody before the games, it seems to me like it should be pretty low risk. If they have good
Yeah,
testing,
yeah. I mean,
they're
maybe.
outside, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we have so much stuff, and maybe I don't know if you want to plug your podcast from your other podcast since you do umpteen different podcasts from the other day. But I mean, to me, I don't know. Like the Braves had several players come down with it. And I don't know if they just contracted it separately from one another or if they were somehow around each other prior to. I don't know, but I don't know. I think players are just going to be skittish about maybe the test being a false negative. I think I mean there's, but
Very possible.
I think because there are still so many unknowns and certain things keep changing and stuff like that. I think people want to have answers, and so I think public agencies are pressured into giving the best answer that they can at a certain time. And I don't think it's like a conspiracy, malicious sort of thing, but I think a lot of times they just don't know, and they may only be like 60% sure on something, but they feel like they have to give an answer. Whereas with me, I would be more okay if they just said, look, we really don't know for sure, so just take as many precautions as you can. It doesn't seem to work that way, and so they seem pressured into giving some answer, even if they're only like 55-60% sure about it. And so we've gone back and forth on masks. We've gone back and forth on whether or not asymptomatic carriers can transmit it. And so I think you're going to have guys out there who are going to say, I don't really have a high level of confidence in what we know about this. I'm going to choose to play it safe.
Yeah. It's hard though. I mean, as an organization, I'd be like, okay, but you're not going to get paid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they probably.
If you're not contributing to what we're doing to make money, or I'd say like you're not going to get full pay for sitting out.
Yeah, I imagine it would probably work just like a holdout, except they wouldn't find them. I don't think they would find them.
No, you probably wouldn't find them.
So yeah,
how does a holdout work? I don't know how that works. You still get full pay?
No, I don't think so. I think you don't. It's like you don't get your pay plus. If the team chooses to, they can fine you. I think it's how it works.
Well, I guess it depends on your contract. That's why I don't know how it totally works, because you still have guaranteed money that you probably still get.
Yeah, but I think guaranteed money isn't guaranteed money. Well, it depends on. Yeah,
I guess it depends.
It depends on each contract. Yeah, so so I'm sure. Yeah, some players probably could have money that they're owed at a specific, for a specific season that they would still get. But yeah.
Well, it's interesting stuff. I think, as time goes on, we know more and more, and it looks like they're going forward with the season. They might even have two preseason games, so
yeah,
it's looking good. College football, on the other hand,
that was what I was about to say.
Starting to fall apart.
That was what I was about to say. Yeah, college has always been iffier.
You have said since the beginning, you're like, I think they're going to play NFL, but I'm not so sure about college.
Yeah, it's tough.
Right.
I mean, because they're not paid. They finally have implemented the ability for players to get paid based on their likeness or whatever, but players aren't paid for games. And certain states are going to have, or I can't remember if it's states or schools or the conferences, or maybe one of each, depending on the situation, of rules where, if they're not like having in-person classes on campus, then they've said, no sports. And I can't remember, if it's any of the big schools or leagues. But yeah, so this week we had some of the, big Power 5 conferences start to say that they were, already have canceled their non-conference games. And so that typically comes out to about, 3 games out of the schedule.
Who was that? That was the Big Ten?
It started with the Big Ten, and then the Pac-12 also did it. And I think maybe one other one did it. I think the SEC hasn't announced anything yet. But yeah, we've had a few. And then we've had like Ivy League schools. Probably don't have a ton of, I don't know how much interest we have in Ivy League sports here, but the Ivy League schools, canceled their whole fall seasons for everything. And then you've got programs like Stanford eliminated, what was it? I want to say like 11 or 13, somewhere around a dozen of its 35 or 36 sports. Like it's eliminating them, like not ending the season, cutting them permanently. starting next season. And so, you've got all these, athletes that depend on, I don't know if they'll honor the scholarships of, players that are there for, on 4-year scholarships or whatever. But, it hurts obviously, for future, future athletes looking to, get a ride on a, rowing scholarship or, tennis or whatever. I mean, that's tough for them. And the other thing
I
about,
can't imagine.
yeah. And the other tough thing about, I think I sent this article to you and Caleb, the other tough thing about the Power 5 schools or the big conferences canceling their games, their non-conference games, is that, those non-conference games tend to be against smaller schools that depend on that money to fund their programs. I mean, basically little teams get paid to travel to, a big school and get beaten up on, and, give the home fans, a good time. And, so that's tough. That's really tough for them. It doesn't really mean much.
Schools. Yeah.
The small schools. Yeah. So it's really going to change a lot of the landscape. And, and some of these right now, the programs that are getting killed off tend to be, some of the less mainstream sports, although some programs, or some schools have killed like baseball programs and stuff. But I think you're going to start.
Which one are you most worried about? Are there any small ones that you're worried about that you know of that you follow? Or
no, I don't really know enough, and I don't know enough about the situations to know like which ones are in danger. Usually, when these things happen, even the players and coaches within the school seem to be shocked, by it. Like there was no leak or word prior to, or at least like up until like, a day or two before it happened. So I think, I believe Furman canceled its baseball program back in when all of this kind of first started, because I know one of the athletes that I used to cover, Furman was the second one, and they did it all the way back in March to eliminate baseball. I was checking to see who, if I could see who the first one was, but Furman in South Carolina, and one of the kids that we covered when I was a sports editor was still there because, let's see, I left there in, like 2015, and like he was a senior, I guess, and or maybe he was just a junior. Yeah. And so this would be like his, senior season. And so I know, a handful of kids that I used to cover that are still at programs that, like, yeah, man, that would be a shame for them if all of a sudden that went away. But they're still towards the end of their college careers now, because I've been out of that industry for several years. But, so it's really tough for the ones who say they went to that school and this was just their freshman year or sophomore year. And then what do you do? Because then maybe, you love that school and you've gotten invested in that program. And then, do you stay at the school and not play? Do you go somewhere else to play? I mean, it's just a tough situation all the way around for them.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm hoping that there, since it's a special situation, that maybe there'll be certain special dispensations for some of these smaller groups. I mean, but if they don't have money, they don't have money, right? If they don't have fans, they don't have fans.
Yeah, and I think some of them will. I think probably a lot of these schools were looking, or maybe they weren't less. Yeah, I mean, and maybe they weren't necessarily looking for a reason. They didn't think they could take the PR hit for it, but because of the opportunity that that COVID's provided, they finally have a chance to say, we got to get rid of this. I imagine it was something that just wasn't, a lot of these sports make no money. Like they're funded by football or basketball or a combination of those. And so I think a lot of those, were just like kind of taking advantage of the opportunity to get something that was just sort of a money pit for them. Get rid of it.
So maybe the special dispensation was the grace that they get for just killing their program.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I'm hopeful that at least we'll see some of the major teams play. Trevor Lawrence is still going to get out there, I'm sure, but just probably not in as many games, not in as much. I think this is going to give him the opportunity to stay number one top dog for sure, right?
Well, I guess this would be the other thing that would make things a little more interesting for the 2021 draft. He's kind of looked at as, of course, just the best prospect to come out since probably Andrew Luck. Justin Fields, I don't think Justin Fields is challenging Trevor Lawrence for the top spot. He's, to me, and I've seen a couple other people say this, so this was my observation, and then, but I'm not I'm not really an expert on, quarterbacks translating their game to the pro game. But I've seen some other people say this too, is that, his is not exactly like a pro ready type situation. And so I don't think he's going to challenge Lawrence for the top spot, but there has been some talk about Trey Lance, the guy at North Dakota State, I believe it is, about him possibly, because he's, kind of that, kind of like a more refined Lamar Jackson type, running quarterback that can also sling it. So there's some talk about that. I would be surprised if he challenged Lawrence for the top spot. But, with North Dakota State not being, a Power 5 school, I don't know if anything would, be more likely to happen with their season or something. So some of those things will just be something to, keep an eye on, because it could affect, someone's draft status.
It's interesting. Yeah. It may be and we still don't, there's talk of this like crazy other thing that's going through from China, like some kind of a weird
I think it was
pneumonia or something.
I think it was, wasn't it like an old, like they found like a bubonic plague?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
I'm not too concerned about it yet, because I think some of those things are just like, it's real, but I don't know how much of a threat it presents, or if it's something that, like, the story is technically true, but it's not really something to be that worried about, because it's basically just kind of playing off of what's going on with COVID to get some extra clicks on this story. So it's true, but I don't know that it's an immediate threat to, although this is 2020, and the hits just keep coming. So
there's one I saw somebody posted on Facebook, one to keep an eye on. It's like super mega lice going around.
I hadn't seen that.
Some kind of crazy lice infestation. Anyways, before we get too grossed out, let's go ahead and move on. And let's see, there's no more NFL news that I can think of. I think we do want to look at our rankings soon. It'd be good to sort of like work on our rankings. I want to put up a better website, put our rankings on the website. So that we have some definitive like flags in the ground.
Yeah. And I guess one little note is Yahoo they've had a weird like auction draft schedule, and so I drafted some auction teams back in early June.
We drafted one together.
We drafted one together, and then they're opening those back up next weekend.
Really? I thought they weren't doing it till August. Wow.
Well, it just still the cheap ones next weekend. So it's like $20 teams. You can still get $20 teams, and then around the early part of August is where the bigger ones open up. But if if you play Yahoo and you're itching to do a money league auction draft, those will open back up next weekend. I think I'm in one next Saturday, so I might I don't know, I might stream it. I think it's late Saturday. I'll have to look and see. But
well, and then we stay tuned for any of you who are watching. If you want to be part of our listener league, you have to join Facebook, because that's where we are going to coordinate that on Facebook. So until we get some more people on Facebook, we really can't do the listener league, because it's hard to do a listener league unless you have a lot of good communication. So join Facebook. It's facebook.com/ let me make sure here. Roto Hackers. Facebook.com / Roto Hackers. And like that page, get on there, because that's where we stream this. And if you're already on Facebook anyways, might as well. If you're not on Facebook, like AJ Herschel's not on Facebook, that's why we got YouTube.
Yeah, we might want to, I don't know, we might have to think about some other way to, if it turns out like a lot of people aren't on
Facebook.
I
guess we could communicate through the YouTube. And actually, maybe that's one way we could do it, is the comment section on YouTube. I think there's like just a general comment section. We'll have to figure something out. Maybe do some discourse. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, we don't have very much left to talk about, and it's a beautiful day. You're gonna go to the beach.
I'm gonna go get outside.
I might go to the beach. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Any last thoughts?
I think that's all I got.
All right. Well, it's good talking to you, man. Some interesting stuff. Mostart is somebody to pay attention to. I call him Mostart because Pat Mayo, he's a fantasy football personality. He says Colonel Mostart.
Yeah, I've never thought of that one. Yeah.
His main thing is his nicknames. He talks about this is because he rags on Jake Seeley, because Jake Seeley comes on his show a lot.
Yeah.
And Jake Seeley, I don't know if you know Jake Seeley, but he's like this, like, I don't know if he's a Christian, but he's very like innocent, kind of nice guy, and he always gets on Pat for swearing and stuff. He doesn't swear. And he's just kind of a single guy, I knew he was single just because I follow his Twitter, and he was talking, like, he'll occasionally talk about like a date he's been on or something like that. And I was thinking like that's interesting. Does the person that you're going out with know that you're, who you are, and that you're on here, like, on Twitter talking about this? Or I thought that was funny. Yeah. He's actually out in Virginia, so.
Oh, okay.
I've often thought, like, of reaching out to him and saying, "Hey, I don't know."
Oh yeah. You're not that far.
Not too far away. It's like 6 hours, and I'll be going up to Virginia pretty soon to visit a friend.
Nice.
So, anyways, and I need to come out. You're not too far either. You're about 6 hours.
Yeah,
like that.
You're just 6 hours from everything.
I'm in the 6 hour zone. All right, well, I better go. Kids are coming back in. I will talk to you later. Keep in touch. And I'd like to somehow, all these, like, we have these, like, interesting little things on the text. If we could get them so I could post them on the
oh yeah,
it'd be nice if we could get listeners to join in, or at least watch our discussions. But
yeah, we'll work on that.
We'll figure it out.
Yep.
All right, well, have a great day, man.
All right.
And to everybody who may be watching in the future, nobody watching right now, we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.